Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei, and you are watching the Morning Forecast Show live every single morning, trading morning, 2 hours before the opening bell, 1 hour before Martyn goes live. Let's get into today's headlines. We are continuing coverage of the Iran, Israel, US, Middle East conflict war that is continuing to happen. So we will bring you some pictures from that. We will also be preparing for the market open. This is the official open, not just the futures open. Let's see how the market reacts when most people will be able to have access to the markets. So let's start off with these pictures coming in from fighter jets that are uh, crashing. So let's bring you this.
Countries across the Gulf. So the question here is, how can we develop a strategy that does not put us into the same position as Iran and Israel and the US? Because that's
Badr, this is so interesting.
Trying to do.
This is so interesting. What do you mean by that? You've said two things. You've said that the Gulf states need to be clear-eyed about their defenses. First of all, what do you mean by that? Do you mean that they need to adopt a more offensive posture in what is now a regional war? That's number one. And then what do you mean by Gulf states need to figure out a strategy that doesn't lump them with Israel?
Because they are separate from Israel and the US. This is not their war. And I think what the effort has been.
So we can see there in the background the pictures of some of those jets coming down. It does look like Kuwait's air defenses mistakenly shot down 3 US F-15 fighter jets during Iran-related operations. So it looks like Kuwait is responsible for those US fighter jets crashing. I think all pilots have survived. But it does look like Kuwait air defenses mistakenly shot down 3 US F-15 fighter jets. So that is a developing story. This has been happening for the last few hours. We have known about this. So I just want to bring those pictures to you. That is not breaking right now, but those are the pictures we've been seeing as we've been waking up this morning. So let's get into what the markets are doing now. We did cover the futures open yesterday, and oil is now really regaining some of what it lost last night. It looked very, very bullish last night at $70, a beautiful trading opportunity. And now we're sat at $72. We did retest $71 again, a nice entry point there for US oil. Currently sat at $72.66 per barrel. That's up 8% since Friday. So oil is certainly up. Remember, for every 10% oil goes up, that's about 0.4% for inflation. Again, that causes interest rates to stay where they are, or it causes them to go up. But that's only if if it's short-term volatility, the Fed will look through it and won't make any impact to its policy based off short-term volatility. It's more if this war continues for a few weeks / into months. We've got gold up 2%. How many times have we been bullish on gold? I did actually say after the previous crash on gold that we saw, everyone again starts being bearish on gold. I'd never buy gold. Gold is awful. That was the narrative we saw on gold. Gold went down, obviously, 21%, but what a buying opportunity. I said this is going to go back up. I said this is going to go to all-time highs. I wasn't as bullish on silver. I think silver has probably topped out for the year. Again, $100 was our Q1 target. $120 was our most bullish target we had. Both of them got hit for silver. I said gold will be more likely to hit all-time highs, and look at it. Gold is now very close to all-time highs. Silver, again, I'm still bullish on. We did have that breakout on Friday. Not last Friday, but the Friday before. I posted on our Substack members group in the chart of the day that silver's looking great for a trade. That was close to around $72, or closer to $75. We're currently now at $95. So I still am bullish on silver, but again, I think gold's going to make new all-time highs. I don't think silver is. I think silver can retest $100, potentially go to $112, maybe have a double top, but I don't think we're going to get massive gains from silver beyond all-time highs. There is still a bit left in silver. Maybe we go up 10%, maybe we go up 20%. But I don't think we'll be breaking $120 to the significant upside on silver. Gold, I do think will go to all-time highs. Again, this could be a time to de-risk from gold and silver and start seeing if there's opportunities in the market, or putting it into cash. That's might be what I do over the coming weeks. I might liquidate some gold, silver, and put it into the stock portfolio. Guys, if you have just tuned in, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. We are going to be covering the market open. We do have the stocks open as well, so we'll have a look at some of the stocks, especially in the UK, and we can look at futures on other stocks, but the stock market will be opening in a couple, less than 2 hours time now. XRP is now down on the day. Bitcoin's slightly up on the day. The S&P 500 is down as much as 1% now. This is quite a bad loss for the market. Let me see how far it was down earlier. Yeah, down. It was down as much as 1.54% earlier in the pre-market. Just a few hours ago, the S&P 500 had quite a nasty correction. About 4-5 hours ago, the S&P 500 was actually down over 1.5%, which is what we predicted in our newsletter last night. The Nasdaq 100 is taking a bit more of a hit, down 1.5%. Let's go through some individual stocks, and then we will give our analysis. We'll talk about XRP and the domino theory, and we will wait until the market opens. If you have just tuned in, hit the like button. What an amazing stream last night. If you were here last night, thank you to everyone who made an incredible Lucasade Army performance last night. That was incredible. Thank you, guys. Let's go through some individual stocks. Can we get the pre-market data here? Extended hours. Yes, we can. So let's see who are the biggest winners and losers. Palantir is up 4%, and then the rest are pretty much losers in my watch list, in the main stock watch list. J&J down 0.22%, MicroStrategy down 0.23%, Coca-Cola down 0.4%. This is all in the extended sort of pre-market hours. McDonald's down 0.4%, Pfizer down 0.61%, Microsoft down 0.8%, Apple down 1%, Disney down 1%, Wrap Technologies down 1.61%. I'm actually let's get rid of a few of these. Berkshire Hathaway down 1.26%. They actually reported earnings on Saturday. Again, you might find that weird, but yes, Berkshire Hathaway choose to report earnings on a Saturday. That is allowed. They do it. We got an article in the newsletter for that. If you do want to get up to date with all the news every single day, the top five stories every day, the charts of the day, the deep dives, you can go and grab the newsletter. There is a free trial there and a free plan. Dollar Tree down 1.44%. Nvidia down 1.5%. Nvidia is now as low as $174 on Nvidia. What else do we have? GME down 1.5%. CRM down. This is Salesforce down 1.69%. Meta down 1.65%. Lyft down 2%. DEC down 2.2%. Coinbase down 2.5%. This is all pre-market data. This is probably where the markets will open up. SBC down 2%, Tesla down 2.34%, ARK Invest down 2.3%, Amazon down 2.4%. It's a pretty red day throughout the markets today, as expected. Rivian down 2.5%. A lot of people said we might get a surge on market open. It doesn't seem like that it is red across the board. Enphase is down 1.8%, AMC down 2.59%, Google down 2.65%. I'm sure Martyn will be looking to be buying some more Google. We will see. Martyn will be live in less than an hour. He will be giving his full thoughts on the market. TSM. Oh, Slim Will UK, I love it.
At Slim Viluk tipped £5 through Super Chat. Round 4 for the Nappy Fund.
Thank you, Slim. Will, if you don't know what he's talking about, we had 3 rounds of Nappy Funds last night. All started with Martyn, then Vaz started calling them rounds, and now Slim UK is back with round 4. Thank you, Slim UK. TSM. Is this actually going to happen again? This is crazy. What you guys are incredible. Look at this.
At David Hensley 3009 tipped $2 through Super Chat. Round 4 accepted. Smiley face emoji.
Thank you, David Hensley, and thank you, Slim Will UK. Appreciate it. Vertical Aerospace down 2.8%, AMD down 2.8%, Mobix down 3%, PayPal down 3%, Snapchat down 3.17%. I'm talking about pre-market trading, by the way, if you have just tuned in. Alibaba down 3.27%, Robinhood down 3.3%. Archer down 3.37%, Circle down 3.5%, Tilray down 3.5%, Rocket Lab down 3.76%. Fiverr down 4%, Joby down 4%. Remember, there's always better opportunities. People FOMO in too quickly. Luna down 4%, SMIC down 5%, and SoundHound AI down 6%. Let me have a quick look at the portfolio challenge. I really need to get this on the screen. I should stop showing you from my phone. Let me see if I can get it on the screen. Remember, we've started with £5,000 and we are currently, are we up today? That would be crazy if we're up today. We are up today. We're up 0.1% today. We're not down on the day here on the portfolio challenge. On the week, we're up 1.4%. If you want to see all these stats, you can go to the newsletter and we'll update you there. I'll try and let me see what I can do. So some of it's not invested, so that's why you don't see that's why you don't see the full value. Am I showing anything I shouldn't? I don't think so. Oh, is that mirrored? You might not be able to see it. We're up on the day and up on the year. Let me tell you the full numbers. I wonder if I can bring this on the screen. I'll sort it out for tomorrow so I can bring it on the screen. But yes, we are up on the day. This year, again, we haven't invested our full amount, but we're still up. Over half of the money is not even invested yet. And on the year to date, we are up 4%. So yeah, that defensive / growth position is working great as intended. Oh my God, we've got another one.
At Karen68 tipped £1.99 through Super Chat. For Baby Sensei, round 4, blue heart emoji.
Thank you so much, Karen. Really appreciate it. For Baby Sensei, I love it. That is very kind. Okay, so those are the main markets. Let's go over back to... We've got another one. Oh my God.
At Bitcoins_Craig tipped $10 through Super Chat. I've brought up 6 kids, all adults now, so I know what you're up for. Enjoy every minute of it, mate. Smile.
Wow, yeah, I will. We are very looking forward to it. They always say the first. So someone told me yesterday in a super chat, the first one's always the hardest and the one you get the most nervous for. So let's see how it goes. You've brought up 6 kids. That's amazing. That's incredible. That must be amazing. All adults now, so I know what you're up for. Every minute, enjoy every minute. I will try Bitcoins, Craig. I'm sure I will. We are very excited. It's not long to go. It's next month. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to go straight into our XRP story, and then we'll come back for the market open. So let me see if I can change this to the domino theory that everyone loves to talk about. Let me tell you all about it and tell you my thoughts on it. If I go to this screen over here, you can see the story down. You can follow along if you've got the newsletter. There is a lot of news in today's newsletter. Again, we're not going to go through all of it because it's for the people that get the newsletter and we don't have time to go through it all. So the domino theory. The domino theory. I'm going to put it, I think there is fine. Okay, so if you are watching live, please don't get confused. I am making a video within a live stream. Remember, we want to be the most real, most honest channel. We don't want to go away, do 50 takes and do different edits. We just want to make our videos how they are. We're not here to dramatize our videos. We're here to just give you the facts. So we make our videos during a live stream. We publish them later. If you are watching live, you can see the live button. If you're watching a live premiere, it will say premiere instead. So don't get confused with that either. Now let's jump into this story about XRP, and then we'll come back to the market open. So I think this story will only take 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Oh, I might do it as a special video. So if I press this button here, it will There we go. Breaking news on Martyn Lucas investor. We're looking at the domino theory. Is it all falling into place? Oil shock, Japan crisis, market crash, stablecoin crash, and then $100,000 XRP. Well, let me tell you my thoughts on it. Let me tell you the breaking news, because in theory, this should be the time where we see a massive surge on XRP. Well, let me tell you all the facts. There will be timestamps below. You can jump to your favorite spot. But if you stay with us for 15 minutes, I will tell you everything you need to know, the full price predictions, the full charts, the full facts, what's going on, and what we need to fall in place. There is a newsletter link down below. I am giving you guys 25% off the full newsletter. You can get all the newsletters, all the cheat sheets, the portfolio challenge, the chart training course. There is a free plan and a 25% discount, so go check it out. This is taken directly from our newsletter. Let's get straight into it. Hit the like button and subscribe. The domino theory, good macro, bad conclusion. $100. Are we going to get it? Well, the Strait of Hormuz. We know what's going on in the Middle East. There is a major conflict war going on. And the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil is effectively closed. Oil has surged by double digits. We did cover the oil futures open up 10% straight away. Remember, every 10% oil goes up, 0.4% up, inflation goes. Iran's supreme leader is dead, and across crypto native corners of the internet, a macro thesis is circulating again. One that ties oil shocks, Japan carry trade, stablecoin solvency, and a cascading global crisis to a single inevitable conclusion. XRP at $100 or $1,000. The theory is called the XRP domino theory, and parts of it are landing in real time. But the conclusion and the reason it keeps going viral doesn't survive contact with reality. And I'm going to be exposing it, but telling you the facts at the same time. This is worth unpacking, not because the price prediction deserves serious attention, but because the macro risks underneath it absolutely does. But because the macro risks underneath it do. Because the macro risks underneath it absolutely do require serious attention. There's parts of this which I think are very credible, and parts where I think we just need to look at the reality of the situation. So let's get into it. So what does the domino theory claim? So the theory is, it circulated around mid-2024 and gained a second wind in late 2025, with people saying it's going to $100 before the end of the year, and then they're just pushing it back. Again, I'm not going to name names. Proposes 5 sequential dominoes. An oil shock hits Japan hard as a nation that imports over 90% of its crude from the Middle East. This then forces the Bank of Japan to raise interest rates aggressively, unwinding the yen carry trade. That then sends a shockwave through global markets. US treasuries become unstable. Stable coins like Tether, which hold treasuries as reserves, will depeg against the dollar. Exchanges will go insolvent, Bitcoin and equities will crash, and through all this chaos, XRP emerges as the only functional settlement infrastructure left standing, its price rocketing to triple or quadruple digits as institutions scramble for liquidity. The theory originally predicted XRP would reach $100 by the end of 2025. XRP ended 2025 at roughly $1.89. The response was that timelines always get extended, and the thesis still stands. So what's happening right now? I'll give you my thoughts on it. On Saturday, the United States and Israel launched coordinated strikes against Iran, an operation the Trump administration has dubbed as Operation Epic Fury. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed. Iran retaliated with missile strikes against Israel, US bases in Kuwait, and targeted across UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Iraq. 3 US soldiers were killed. Dubai International Airport was damaged. Multiple countries closed their airspace. Now, the important part, oil. The Strait of Hormuz, a 33-kilometer wide channel between Iran and Oman, through which 20% of the world's oil supply passes daily, is now effectively shut to commercial traffic. No one can get through. Not only is it because they have declared it shut, or there's reports that it's declared shut, but because no one's going to be insuring those tankers. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has warned ships via radios that passage is not permitted, and at least 3 oil tankers have been struck with missiles. Marashek has suspended all vessels crossing until further notice. Hundreds of tankers have dropped anchor. Insurance premiums have hit 6-year highs, creating a de facto closure even without a formal blockade. You can see the oil prices did jump on open to about $82 before coming lower a little bit. They jumped as much as 13% at Monday's open. Brent crude jumped as much as 13% up to $82 a barrel at today's open. US West Texas rose more than 8% to $72. Barclays has warned Brent could reach $100 if the security situation spirals. UBS sees marital disruption, potentially sending spot prices above $120. That would be crazy. Crazy price predictions there. UBS saying $120. That will have a remarkable impact on the world. The S&P 500 futures are down over 1%. Gold is above 5,300 per ounce. Bitcoin is dropping to around, right now is actually 65,900. What we want to see is this just short-term volatility? Because if it is just short-term volatility, and I was speaking to Michael Burry yesterday, if you want to see that chat, go to the Substack private community, and I posted my conversation with Michael Burry. Dr. Michael Burry, I was speaking to him, and we were discussing the impact this could have. And essentially his views are this is short-term volatility. So he's saying this is something that, yes, it could impact inflation, but the Fed would look past anything short-term. So he's describing this as short-term volatility. However, if it continues for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, then it goes from short-term volatility into a systematic risk. And this is the chart we're looking at on Polymarket, US x Israel ceasefire. So when is there going to be a ceasefire? By March 31st, there's a 45% chance. So we're not looking at a ceasefire for over 30 days. The odds are not in the favor of a ceasefire in the next 30 days. So we are looking at this continuing for weeks. Polymarket currently gives a 46%. And again, the longer it goes on, the more this gets ingrained in inflation and has an effect on the domino theory, potentially. But more importantly, it has an effect on inflation and recession odds. Polymarket currently gives a 46% chance of a US-Iran ceasefire by March 31st and a 67% chance by April the 30th. The probability of a ceasefire by the end of this week sits at just 15%. Trump said yesterday that Iran wants to talk, and he has agreed to do so, but also signaled that the operation will continue until the US objectives are met. Now we come on to the carry trade, the real risk. I am very adamant a Japanese carry trade is a major risk for 2026. Again, is it over 50% chance a major carry trade unwinds? I've said for the longest time, no. I think there's a 20% chance, 25% chance we get a major carry trade unwind. And yes, oil going higher does increase those odds. But it's a fact that there's a 25% chance of a major unwind that will have a massive effect on the markets. And I don't think that's been priced in correctly. Well, let's go over to the carry trade. So this is the most credible element, in my opinion, of the domino theory, is the yen carry trade. This is a genuine systematic risk worth understanding on its own terms. The trade works like this. Investors borrow Japanese yen, where interest rates have been near zero for decades.
I can't believe this.
Thank you for becoming a member. Where interest rates have been near zero for decades, and they invest those funds into higher yielding assets elsewhere, including US treasuries, tech stocks, and crypto. So it's essentially a 0% credit card. Morgan Stanley estimates roughly $500 billion in outstanding yen carry trade positions heading into late 2025. When the trade reverses, it reverses violently. In August 2024, a surprise Bank of Japan rate hike crashed the Nikkei 225 by 12% in a single session and sent shockwaves through the global equities and crypto. And that was just a tiny carry trade unwind. There is a lot more left to unwind. So today, the setup is more fragile. The Bank of Japan policy rate sits at 0.75%, a 3-decade high, and Japan's key metrics tell the story. The 10-year government bond yield is at over 2%. That's the highest since 1999. CPI, Core Consumer Price Index, essentially inflation, is running near 3%. That's too high. Wage growth in 2025 is 5.25%, the strongest in 30 years. Causes inflation. Market implied probability of another hike by April, 70%, and that was pre the Iran crisis. So we are getting rate hikes in Japan. Analysts forecast the Bank of Japan terminal rates between 1% and 1.5% by the end of 2026. That's way more than the market is potentially pricing in right now. Then Iran happened. Bank of Japan Deputy Governor Raizo Himeno spoke today and refrained from signaling an immediate rate increase, reinforcing expectations that the bank will stand pat on its March the 19th meeting. The conflict creates a genuine dilemma. This is true. Again, there's parts of the domino theory I'll come on to which I completely disagree with, but the carry trade is real. It is 100% real, and this oil crisis doesn't help it in any way. The conflict creates a genuine dilemma. Rising oil prices pushes inflation higher, which argues for tightening rate hikes. But an energy shock also weakens growth, which argues for holding. Morgan Stanley MUGF Securities estimates a 10% increase in oil price shaves roughly 0.1% percentage points off Japan's real gross domestic product. So we're looking at GDP decreasing when oil goes up, but also inflation increasing, which again, one says raise rates, one says hold rates or cut rates. So we'll have to see what Japan actually does. But if the Bank of Japan delays hikes, and they don't do it in March, and they don't even do it in April, I do expect pretty certain that we'll get a rate hike in April with Japan. We'll be covering it live on the show, so please do make sure you have subscribed. Please do make sure you have hit the like button. It takes 1 second. Please do hit the like button. One other thing I'll tell you about is the newsletter. We are running 25% off. There's a free trial, a free plan. You can get access to all of the cheat sheets. For example, when Bank of Japan interest rate decision comes up, I'll send a newsletter out to everyone before that decision to give you everything you need to know, simplify it to the greatest degree, give you all the charts, all the different stocks, XRP charts, Bitcoin charts, the stock market charts, the cheat sheet. If Bank of Japan do this, that it means this. I break it all down for you. We do that for the FOMC. We do that for data releases in the US. We do that for macro events. We also give you a daily newsletter with the 5 top stories every single day. At times like this, you definitely need to get the real news without any ads, without any sponsorship. That's what we do. We give you a chart trading course. I tell you everything about charts, not just something random. And this is how you get rich overnight. I tell you the real facts. One-on-one DMs. You get the private community, you get the Portfolio Insights app, which is being released today, and you get a much, much more deep dive research. So go check it out. There's also a free plan, so there's no excuse not to be getting it. Let's continue. So if the Bank of Japan delays hikes, the carry trade persists longer, and the risk of larger unwind builds. I don't know if I told you, the link for the newsletter is the first link in the description. If it hikes anyway, the unwind could begin in earnest. Either path creates volatility, but that volatility hits every risk asset, not just crypto, and it certainly doesn't funnel capital into XRP. And here is where we go to where the theory breaks down, and this is where everyone's going to get annoyed at me, and everyone's going to click off the video because everyone wants to hear that XRP is going to $100 and XRP is going to $1,000, and that's not true. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you guys live in an echo chamber where everyone tells you it's going to $1 million, you are going to make bad financial decisions. You're going to keep piling money into an asset which is not going to go to where you think it's going. You're going to risk too much, and you're going to be disappointed when 5 years later you realize you made the biggest mistake. Look, I am bullish on XRP. I love XRP, but I have realistic price predictions as well. So let me tell you the facts. Please, if you are listening to domino theories taking XRP to $100 by end of 2025, well, it didn't. And we told you it wasn't. If you think it's going to go to the end $100 by the end of this year, if the carry trade unwinds, you're completely incorrect. If you think it's going to go to $1,000 in the next 10 years, it's not happening. Wake up. And I'm not saying that in a rude way. I'm not telling you to wait. I am just asking you to just look at the facts and actually take a moment to look and do some research. So let's get into why the theory breaks down. Just let me tell you some facts, and then you can decide whether or not you agree. Tell me in the comment section, am I an idiot? Am I too bearish on XRP? The domino theory takes legitimate macro risks and reverse engineers them a conclusion. And this is what I don't like about this domino theory. There's some very legitimate things in it, which I agree with, which I've been talking about. And then they make it seem like it's very clever things. And then they throw in XRP going to $1,000, which makes it seem like, oh yeah, that's all true. So XRP can go to $1,000. That's not how it works. This is how it's been engineered for clicks, for hype, for promotion of whatever, in my opinion. Even if every domino fell exactly as described, and we're talking about all those dominoes we talked about earlier. Remember, this is it. Even if every single one happens, where was it? Oh, I want to tell you the list of events that this domino theory. Oh, here we go. So oil goes up, it hits Japan because they import over 90% of its crude oil. I agree with. This forces Japan to raise rates aggressively. I don't think they're going to raise it aggressively, but I do think they are raising their rates. We do know that. We've been covering the event. So yes, and I do think the carry trade will unwind. It could happen slowly. It could happen fast. We don't know that yet. Most likely it will happen slowly, but there is a significant risk the carry trade can unwind fast. There's a 25% chance of that, in my opinion, and that increases with oil going up, and that could be quite devastating for the market. Neither of those options make XRP go to $1,000. Then that sends a shockwave through global markets. Yes, carry trade unwind will send a shockwave through global markets. US treasuries become unstable. Yes, not to a massive degree, but yes, they would. Stable coins like Tether, which hold treasuries as reserve, depeg. Now that's where we start getting a bit dubiously speculating at this point. Yes, I don't think Tether is the best thing. We have heard about concerns about Tether for the last 10 years. Since Tether's existence, we've heard about depegging Tether. It's never happened, so I wouldn't put too much weight on that. Exchanges go insolvent. I think we're past the FTX days now. I think, yes, the small exchanges will go insolvent, but I think Coinbase, KuCoin, Kraken, they're here to stay. Bitcoin and equities crash. Well, yeah, Bitcoin and equities will crash in a scenario where we get a carry trade. And through all this chaos, XRP emerges as the only financial settlement infrastructure left standing. Ridiculous. That's where you just go completely wrong. That's not happening. It's not XRP. It's not going to come in and save the day from a carry trade. So let's continue with our analysis. Now I've told you about what that domino theory is, again, reminding you on what they say is going to happen. Even if every domino fell exactly as described, so let's say all of that does happen, there is no mechanism, I can't even say the word, by which XRP absorbs trillions in capital flows. It just can't happen. The rails are not there yet. They're not all suddenly going to jump onto XRP as a rails overnight, non-tested. I mean, it's just a ridiculous statement. I don't even want to explain it too much. At $100, XRP market capitalization would be approximately 10 trillion. Exceeding the combined value of gold exchanged gold ETFs and most sovereign wealth funds. At $1,000, it's 100 trillion. The total global stock market is worth roughly 115 trillion. And there's going to be everyone in the comments. It doesn't matter. Market cap doesn't mean anything. Market cap is always means something. You just have to know how to use it and how to analyze it. So the theory positions XRP as a safe haven during crisis. That's essentially what the theory is saying. There's going to be a global crisis and XRP is going to save the day. Nope, that's not what's going to happen. That's just, we've seen it over and over again. It's like saying Bitcoin is a safe haven asset. It's not. XRP is way less of a safe haven asset than Bitcoin. This weekend produced the opposite result. XRP fell 10 days in a single day when the strikes hit. Over 46 million in XRP derivatives were liquidated in 24 hours. 43 million from leveraged longs. Gold went up, dollar went up, treasuries rallied, XRP went down. You can see we are down currently 69% since all-time highs on XRP, and we predicted this bear market 6 months ago. The stablecoin piece is also overstated. Tether's Q4 2025 attestation shows 141 billion in US Treasury exposure, 6.3 billion in excess reserves, and roughly 82% of its portfolio in treasuries and money market funds. The Genius Act, passed in July, now mandates reserve composites composition reporting. A tether depeg would require a simultaneous, unprecedented redemption run combined with a treasury market seizure, a scenario far bigger than just stablecoins. So again, that theory is a bit, part of the domino is a bit questionable as well. So the bottom line is, this is how the most effective misinformation works. Not by making things up entirely, but building 90% of the argument on plausible, sometimes even accurate macro analysis, and then using that credibility to smuggle in an absurd conclusion. The carry trade is real. Oil shocks are real. Inflation is real. None of that leads to XRP at $1,000. The leap from these are genuine systematic risks to therefore this one cryptocurrency becomes the backbone of global finance, has no supporting mechanism, no institutional evidence, and now a live stress test that produced the exact opposite result. It's happened. Oil's up. Where's XRP? When the missiles flew on Saturday, gold went up and XRP went down. That's the data point that matters. What does deserve close attention to is the actual macro picture. This is what's important. This is what you need to be looking at. This is where the news is. Oil is above $80 and rising. A de facto closure of the world's most critical energy choke point. A Bank of Japan caught between inflation it needs to fight and growth it can't afford to lose. An estimate 500 billion in carry trade positions that can unwind if conditions shift. A Federal Reserve that may have to shelve rate cuts if energy prices stay elevated. And a prediction market that's only giving a coin flip chance to the conflict being resolved within the month. These are real risks. The Strait of Hormuz, the Bank of Japan 19th meeting, oil trajectory, and the Fed's response are things to watch. Everything else is just noise dressed up as signal. I know everyone's going to hate me for making this video and saying the domino theory has no credibility, but it doesn't. So I apologize to the XRP holders. I am part of the XRP army. How many times have we advocated for XRP for 4 years? Before these people were even talking about XRP, at 30 cents 4 years ago, go check the channel. I was buying it. Every time it dropped below 40 cents, I was buying it. I was talking about the SEC case and how we're on the right side of the law. We did the petition. We bought at 30 cents, 40 cents. We bought in December of 2024 because we said the altcoin season's coming. We predicted a potential double top on XRP's price. We traded XRP and made hundreds of percent throughout the bull market, meaning we only had to sell 10 to 20% of our spot position at the highs and to make a profit this cycle. I do think we're going to go low on XRP. I do think we're going to have a secondary cash. I do think we're going to go below $1, and I don't think we're going to go back to $100. But I think there's great risk to reward on XRP. Remember, if XRP was going to go to $100, and this is David Schwartz's own words, if there was a 10% chance that XRP was going to go to $100, he said if there's a 10% chance that XRP is going to go to $100, it would be priced in at $10 right now. If it was a 10% chance it was going to go to $1,000, it will be priced at $100 right now. It's not, and that's all that you need to know. Even David Schwartz is on my side. So I do think XRP will go to $5 to $10 in the next couple of years because I think there could be a 10% chance it goes to $100 in the coming years, and that's why I think it might go up to $10. But right now it's not, and that's why I might look to accumulate. I've been buying. I bought at the 200-week moving average. I bought at $1.11, sold the next day for a 50% profit because I want to make some money to buy some more XRP lower. I do have my spot position intact. Why? Because I traded throughout the bull market. I made hundreds of percent. If you want to see how I did that, go and check out the newsletter. In the private community, I do post those trades. I also put trade setups in the newsletter every single day, not as financial advice, but just as my thoughts. I also have a £5,000 portfolio challenge I've just begun. So if you want to see my research for that, you can see it in the newsletter. But for now, I'm going to end the video. I'm going to put 2 videos up here. I'm going to put the newsletter link just down here. Go click on it. There's a free plan. There's a free trial. And there's a 25% off link in the description as well. But stay safe. Please don't hate me for making this video. I just want to give you my thoughts and opinions. Go let me know what you think in the comment section. But until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye. Okay, that's going to come out later as a video. That was an XRP video. Let's go back to the current markets and your comments. We're going to go back to the markets. What are they doing? This is it's the only thing south. So at 9:30 is the market crashing. It's not crashing, but we are down. The futures are down. Pentagon is live. The Pentagon is live. Let's see if we can bring that to you. The Pentagon is live. Here we go. Yes, you are right.
No, now you know. President Trump puts America and Americans first. He doesn't hesitate, and neither do our troops. The mission of Operation Epic Fury is laser focused. Destroy Iranian offensive missiles, destroy Iranian missile production, destroy their navy and other security infrastructure, and they will never have nuclear weapons. We're hitting them surgically, overwhelmingly, and unapologetically.
Guys, this is live from the Pentagon, the update everyone's been waiting for. Hit the like button and subscribe.
We set the terms of this war from start to finish. Our ambitions are not utopian. They are realistic, scoped to our interests and the defense of our people and our allies. Speaking of people, we hope the Iranian people take advantage of this incredible opportunity. President Trump has been clear, now is your time. To Iranian security forces, choose wisely. President Trump has also been clear about your fate in either direction. To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite. This operation is a clear, devastating, decisive mission. Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes. Israel has clear missions as well, for which we are grateful. Capable partners, as we've said since the beginning, capable partners are good partners. Unlike so many of our traditional allies who wring their hands and clutch their pearls, hemming and hawing about the use of force. America, regardless of what so-called international institutions say, is unleashing the most lethal and precise air power campaign in history. B-2s, fighters, drones, missiles, and of course, classified effects. All on our terms, with maximum authorities. No stupid rules of engagement, no nation-building quagmire, no democracy-building exercise, no politically correct wars. We fight to win, and we don't waste time or lives. As the president warned, an effort of this scope will include casualties. War is hell, and always will be. A grateful nation honors the 4 Americans we have lost thus far and those injured. The absolute best of America. May we prosecute the remainder of this operation in a manner that honors them. No apologies, no hesitation, epic fury for them and the thousands of Americans before them, taken too soon by Iranian
We are slightly
radicals.
behind, so I'm going to fast forward
Before
this.
I turn it over to General Kane for the operational update, let me speak straight to you, the joint force, our warriors on the front lines. This is your moment. This is the generational turning point America has waited for since 1979, and since the rudderless wars of hubris, my generation, our generation, endured. Don't listen to the noise. Just stay focused. Our commander-in-chief is steady at the wheel. We face a determined enemy, but you are better. But we must prove it every single day. History doesn't care if we're tired, if we're scared, or if the fight feels big. It demands warriors who rise anyway. Peace through strength, the warrior ethos, lethality, unity of purpose, those are not slogans. They're the beating heart of what it means to wear the uniform, that uniform. You think clearly under fire, you act decisively in chaos, you uphold the Constitution, and you uphold our country without hesitation. We are not defenders anymore. We are warriors, trained to kill the enemy and break their will. History is watching. Be the force you swore an oath to be: focused, disciplined, lethal, and unbreakable. We will finish this on America First conditions, of President Trump's choosing. Nobody else's, as it should be. And know this above all, President Trump and I have your back, always. Through fire, through criticism, through fake news, through everything. We unleash you because you are the best, most powerful, most lethal fighting force the world has ever seen. May Almighty God watch over you and his providential arms of protection extend over you. Godspeed, warriors, and keep going. General Kane, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and good morning, everyone. The purpose of my portion of the briefing today is to update you and the American people on the actions taken thus far. The briefing will discuss the preparation, the planning, setting the force, the early operations, and how we're assessing the progress thus far. So let's get started. On Saturday, 28 February at 01:15 Eastern Standard Time, 9:45 a.m. local Tehran time, on the orders of the President of the United States, U.S. Central Command, under the command of United States Navy Admiral Brad Cooper, commenced Operation Epic Fury. As I said, I'm going to walk you through the initial phases of the operation. But first, I want to express my deep condolences and the condolences of the Joint Force to the Department of War personnel killed and wounded in actions thus far. As the Secretary said, they're heroes and represent the best of our nation has to offer. They're true examples of what selfless service means. Our deepest and heartfelt condolences are with their families, their friends, and their units. We grieve with you, and we will never forget you. Additionally, I stand here before you today grateful for each service member, planner, logistician, operator across our joint force, for our Department of War civilians, our intelligence community teammates, our interagency teammates who continue to stand in harm's way alongside us. I am proud of all of you as you take the fight to the enemy, and we are the best in the world at integrating, period. I want to extend my personal gratitude to the dedicated commanders and senior enlisted leaders and the enlisted members of the Joint Force who are fighting this fight across the CENTCOM AOR. In addition to Admiral Cooper and Fleet Master Chief Compton, I want to highlight a few today. U.S. Army Central Command Commander Lieutenant General Pat Frank, who, along with his team, are fighting the counter-missile and counter-drone fight. United States Navy Central Command Commander Vice Admiral Kurt Renshaw and his team, who are engaged with the Iranian Navy and projecting Iranian targets from the air. I want to highlight the support to the CENTCOM fight from other combatant commands who are directly involved with this effort, to include U.S. Spacecom, U.S. Cybercom, and U.S. UCOM. I also want to specifically call out United States Transportation Command and the entire Joint Force and their families. Their unwavering commitment and dedication are the cornerstones of this effort. So let me start with a few details. First, to be clear, as the Secretary said, this is not a single overnight operation. The military objectives that CENTCOM and the Joint Force have been tasked with will take some time to achieve, and in some cases will be difficult and gritty work. We expect to take additional losses, and as always, we will work to minimize U.S. losses. But as the Secretary said, this is major combat operations. So let me talk about the preparation and the planning. On February 28th, the full strength of America's armed forces came together in a unified purpose against a capable and determined adversary. The United States Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard, and our reserve components integrated across our combatant commands and began coordinated operations with the Israeli armed forces of an unprecedented scale. As the Secretary laid out, our military objectives are clear. Our mission is to protect and defend ourselves, and together with our regional partners, prevent Iran from the ability to project power outside of its borders, and be ready for follow-on actions as appropriate. Across every domain, land, air, sea, cyber, the U.S. Joint Force delivered synchronized and layered effects designed to disrupt, degrade, deny, and destroy Iran's ability to conduct and sustain combat operations. On the U.S. side, this marked the culmination of months and in some cases years of deliberate planning and refinement against this particular target set. From precision strikes against key military infrastructure to persistent intelligence and targeting integration to the close coordination of the components across vast distances, this operation again demonstrated America's reach, readiness, and professionalism, and that of our joint united force. It was historic not only in the operational scope, but in the level of joint integration displayed across every element of the joint force. And as I said earlier, this work is just beginning and will continue. So now to talk a little bit about setting the force and setting the theater. On the order of the Secretary of War over the last 30 days to reinforce deterrence and provide the president with credible options should action be required, the joint force began to systematically reposition assets and personnel across the region. These movements ensured that U.S. forces remained postured, protected, and ready to respond decisively for any emerging threat. This deployment included thousands of service members from all branches, hundreds of advanced fourth and fifth generation fighters, dozens of refueling tankers, the Lincoln and Ford Carrier Strike Group and their embarked air wings, sustained flow of munitions, fuel, supplies, all supported with command and control, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance network. And the flow of forces continues today. In fact, Admiral Cooper will receive additional forces even today. This rapid buildup of forces demonstrated the joint forces' ability to adapt and project power at the time and place of our nation's choosing. I want to highlight a couple specific cases for you. The Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group, which many of you know was down in the Western Hemisphere, redeployed across the Atlantic to set the theater. The ship, her crew, their families, and the entire strike group took a deep breath and, as they always do, began planning to conduct combat operations. The integrated Reserve and National Guard forces have continued to demonstrate the value of America's reserve forces, including the Wisconsin Army National Guard operating in Kuwait and Iraq, and Air National Guard units from a variety of states to include Vermont and Virginia. In the case of the Vermont Air National Guard and the 158th Fighter Wing, they were mobilized for Operation Absolute Resolve and then were tasked to take their F-35As across the Atlantic instead of going home to be prepared to support this operation. The same is with our Air National Guard and Air Force Reserve Command tanker and mobility forces, who stepped right out of their civilian jobs to deploy and to protect the region. Lastly, I want to highlight the unsung heroes of warfare, our American logisticians and sustainment force, those who quietly work every day behind the scenes to project and sustain America's combat power. Our leaders from World War II were right when they said professionals do logistics. As regional tensions rose, the Joint Force elevated our force protection measures on the order of the Secretary and repositioned discreetly civilians and non-essential personnel designed to ensure the safety and security of our Joint Force. By the time operations began, only essential forces remained on our bases and in theater, all ready, capable to respond. So now let me move to H hour. At 3:38 p.m. on Friday, February 27th, the United States Central Command, through the Secretary of War, received the final go order from President Trump. The president directed, and I quote, "Operation Epic Fury is approved. No aborts. Good luck," close quote. In the region, every element of the Joint Force made their final preparations. Air defense batteries readied themselves, checking their systems to respond to Iranian attacks. Pilots and crews rehearsed their strike packages for the final time. Air crews began loading their final weapons, and 2 carrier strike groups began to move towards their launching points. Across the globe, our operations centers came alive in Tampa, Florida, here at the Pentagon, and of course forward in the Central Command AOR. As always, operational security was paramount as we sought to maintain and sustain the element of surprise. This operation was highly classified so that at H hour, the enemy would see one thing: speed, surprise, and violence of action. The first movers were U.S. Cybercom and U.S. Spacecom, layering non-kinetic effects, disrupting and degrading and blinding Iran's ability to see, communicate, and respond. At H hour, the beginning of major combat operations, 01:15 local Eastern Daylight Time, 9:45 local AM Tehran time, as dawn crept up across the Central Command AOR, the skies surged to life. More than 100 aircraft launched from land, sea, fighters, tankers, airborne early warning, electronic attack, bombers from the states, and unmanned platforms, forming a single synchronized wave. This was a daylight strike based on a trigger event conducted by the Israeli Defense Forces, enabled by the U.S. intelligence community. The first shooters at sea were Tomahawks unleashed by the United States Navy, closed in on Iranian naval forces, and began to conduct strikes across the southern flank in Iran. On the ground, forces fired precision standoff weapons, measured, deliberate, precise, and lethal. This was a massive, overwhelming attack across all domains of warfare, striking more than 1,000 targets in the first 24 hours. We are now roughly 57 hours into the operation. In the initial phase, CENTCOM's focus was systematic targeting of Iranian's command and control infrastructure, naval forces, ballistic missile sites, and intelligence infrastructure designed to daze and confuse them. Coordinated space and cyber operations effectively disrupted communications and sensor networks across the area of responsibility, leaving the adversary without the ability to see, coordinate, or respond effectively. The combined impact of these strikes, swift, precise, and overwhelming, has resulted in the establishment of local air superiority. This air superiority will not only enhance the protection of our forces, but also allow them to continue the work over Iran. Over the course of the last 2 days, the Joint Force has launched hundreds of missions from land and sea and delivered tens of thousands of pieces of ordnance. The effort continues to scale. This included American B-2 bombers, which again, similar to Midnight Hammer, flew a 37-hour round-trip sortie from the continental United States, dropping precision, penetrating munitions on Iranian underground
B-2s
facilities across the southern flank and slightly deeper. Additionally, Israel has separately executed hundreds of sorties against hundreds of targets. Beyond Air Force and Navy aircraft strike packages, coordinated salvos of precision standoff weapons from across the region have neutralized hundreds of pre-planned targets. As I mentioned earlier, in support of these kinetic operations, U.S. Cybercom and Spacecom have continuously layered effects to disrupt, disorient, and confuse the enemy. I will note that this operation had several combat firsts, which I'll allow at some point in the future Admiral Cooper to talk about since he owns the AOR. While we've prosecuted a relentless offensive campaign, our defense has been equally important. Across the theater, operations have remained steady and disciplined. Once again, our integrated air and missile defense network is performing exactly as it's intended. U.S. Patriot and THAAD batteries, along with ballistic missile defense-capable Navy destroyers, continue to coordinate and execute intercepts with precision and consistency. I wish that every American could hear the voice communications like I have as these joint operations centers remain calm, focused, and cool while executing under fire over and over again. Collectively, these systems have intercepted hundreds of ballistic missiles targeting U.S. forces, our partners, and regional stability. The threat from one-way attack UAVs has remained persistent. Our systems have proven effective in countering these platforms, engaging targets rapidly. Each intercept represents hundreds of hours of training, readiness, and technology all coming together to work as designed. We will remain vigilant in the counter-UAV fight. And the defense of the region is not ours alone. As the threat grew, our partners surged in beside us. Air defense batteries in Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia joined the fight, proof positive that years of training, trust, and hard-earned integration pay off. I am aware of the loss of 3 U.S. Air Force F-15Es overnight in the region. I am grateful for the safety of the crews, and we know that this was not from hostile enemy fire. As this matter's under investigation, I'll not comment further on this. Let me close. Operations will remain active across the theater and across the globe. The U.S. forces are postured not only to maintain pressure, but to respond and adapt as required. Operation Epic Fury stands as a reminder of what the United States military uniquely delivers: the ability to project power on a global scale with speed, surprise, precision, and overwhelming force when and where our nation requires it. What we've demonstrated over the past several days reflects years of investment in readiness, joint integration, and professionalism of the Joint Force. As major combat operations continue across CENTCOM, we remain engaged globally. America's Joint Force retains the credibility, capacity, and flexibility to respond to any contingency anywhere in the world at any time. To those who would test our resolve or threaten the United States, our allies, or our interests, understand clearly we can reach you, we can sustain the fight, and we can scale the fight. and we will prevail. Your joint force remains steady, frosty, calm, and focused. Your service members are trained, disciplined, and determined. We understand the risks of this mission and the weight of the responsibility that we carry. We also recognize that our families also shoulder the burden at home. You are a part of this too. I am proud today, as I am every day, to stand as a member of America's joint force. There is no mission too complex, no distance
I apologize,
too great,
I'm just
and
syncing
no
up
adversary too determined
the
for the
speed.
men and women who wear our nation's uniform. We mourn our fallen, we honor their families, and we continue our mission with focus, unity, and strength. And now I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Right here. Go ahead.
Thank you for your time. What percentage of Iranian long-strike capabilities are still in the fight, and what is our exit strategy here, and when will it be deployed?
Well, they have long-range strike capabilities, which we are hyper-focused on. The brief we got just this morning, Admiral Cooper knows exactly and precisely what kind of threat matrix he's looking at, the way they might change their techniques and how we adapt to that. So we're making sure the theater commander has absolutely everything he needs. I mean, one of the things the chairman mentioned is for months and months, even before we built up, we ensured that we had maximum defensive capabilities in theater to allow the president the decision space in the future. So even before this build up in the last 30 days, we discreetly brought defensive assets in to make sure, understanding that there are Iranian capabilities. As far as time frame, I would never hang a time frame from our perspective. The commander-in-chief sets the op tempo and terms of this fight. As I said, it's on his terms. And we'll make sure that Admiral Cooper and his team have everything they need, not just to defend. I mean, the best defense is good offense. And so we're aggressively pushing into that airspace over that southern flank to ensure that we control it and we destroy anything that moves that would attempt to shoot us. Think of it as shooting the archer instead of the arrows. That's where we want to be. And we have the kind of exquisite intelligence to get over the top, find that and destroy it. It won't happen overnight. This is a big battle space with a lot of capabilities. That's part of the reason why it's such a threat to us. That's why I talk about conventional umbrella to blackmail nuclear ambitions. They were building up this conventional arsenal in order to ensure that no one would ever block them from their ability to get nuclear weapons. So we're very clear-eyed about the nature of this Iranian threat, and we're going to get after it. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the question. The only thing I'll add is that unlike an operation, a single operation like Midnight Hammer or Absolute Resolve, it'll take some time for us to conduct battle damage assessment, and the targeting cycle that CENTCOM will run will take those things into effect. Admiral Cooper will adjust his plan and fires accordingly to ensure that we're attriting that. He's focused on long-range strike capability coming out of the enemy, and that's a key and essential part of it.
Of the capabilities that still exist from the enemy front?
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say we're still doing BDA. Normally we'd be able to see a singular thing and we'd assess pretty quickly. He's doing offense and assessment simultaneously, so it'll take longer for us to assess than it would in a single operation.
Secretary Hegseth, thank you. Reagan Reese with the Daily Caller. Two questions for you. The president said yesterday in his video message that we will leave Iran when we complete all of our objectives. What are our objectives, and can you share more information on how the soldiers who were killed were killed?
Well, I laid out the objectives, as did the chairman. They're completely nested. I mean, Iran has an ability to project power against us and our allies in ways that we can't tolerate. So whether that's ballistic missiles and drones, so offensive capabilities, effectively their navy, which would attempt to set other terms and impose different costs, drone capabilities, which we laid out there, and ultimately, though, this tying it back to Midnight Hammer. The president has been willing to make a deal. You can't have a nuclear bomb. Radical Islamists can't have a nuclear bomb that they wield against the world. He gave them every single opportunity. Then we precisely took it away. And even then, after that, they didn't have that. They didn't come to the table with the willingness to give it away. So ultimately, those nuclear ambitions, which never ceased, are something that had to be addressed as well. So that's a discrete sense of what's being addressed here to ensure that they can't use that conventional umbrella to continue a pursuit of nuclear ambitions. And then as it pertains to the U.S. casualties, that particular incident was, you have air defenses and the lot's coming in and you hit most of it. And we absolutely do. We have incredible air defenders. Every once in a while, you might have one, unfortunately, we call it a squirter that makes its way through. And in that particular case, it happened to hit a tactical operations center that was fortified, but these are powerful weapons. So we certainly will do, as I said, moments like that as we remember them and we take care of them and take care of their families, only stiffen our resolve to ensure that we do this properly.
Thank you.
Yeah, right here.
Thank you, Secretary Hegseth. I had two questions for you. First, are there currently any American boots on the ground in Iran?
No, but we're not going to go into the exercise of what we will or will not do. I think it's one of those fallacies for a long time that this department or presidents or others should tell the American people, and our enemies, by the way, here's exactly what we'll do. Here's exactly how long we'll go. Here's exactly how far we'll go. Here's what we're willing to do and not do. It's foolishness. And so President Trump ensures that our enemies understand we'll go as far as we need to go to advance American interests. But we're not dumb about it. You don't have to roll 200,000 people in there and stay for 20 years. We've proven that you can achieve objectives that advance American interests without being foolish about it. Now, will we be bold about it? Are we willing to be decisive about it? Do we put months and months of planning into what kind of effects we want to achieve? Absolutely. But going forward, why in the world would we tell you, the enemy, anybody, what we will or will not do in pursuit of an objective? We fight to win. We fight to achieve the objectives the President of the United States has laid out, and we will do so unapologetically. Thank you.
Is there any significance to Israel carrying out the strike to kill the Ayatollah? And I wanted to know, what was your immediate reaction to finding out about his killing?
I think Israel did a great job in the conduct of that operation.
President Trump put a 4-week timeline on it. Are you
Please.
saying that's wrong?
Yeah, thank you. You mentioned during the briefing, General Kane, that there would be additional troops sent to the region. Could you say how many troops currently are involved in this operation and how many additional troops are planned to go in this next phase?
I don't want to talk specifics because that would tip the enemy off. We have more tactical aviation flowing into theater just based on the time it took to get it out there. I think we're just about where we want to be in terms of total combat capacity and total combat power for Admiral Cooper. One of the things, though, that a commander, he'll consistently assess the trajectory of the campaign. Is he on or off trajectory? And then make an ask of the joint force, which will then develop options for consideration by the Secretary and the President to either increase or in some cases decrease the amount of combat capability that we have over there.
I heard the question about 4 weeks. It's a typical NBC sort of gotcha type question. President Trump has all the latitude in the world to talk about how long it may or may not take. 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. It could move up. It could move back. We're going to execute at his command the objectives we've set out to achieve. And what he has shown an ability to do that other presidents can't quite seem to have the aperture to do, well, I mean, Joe Biden didn't even know what he was doing, is to look for opportunities and off-ramps and escalations for the United States that creates new opportunities to execute what we need on our own timeline. So you can play games about 4 weeks, 5 weeks. He has all the latitude, and I'm glad he does, because there's no better communicator than our president expressing those things.
Daily Mail.
I've been in meetings with the president for the last 2.5 days. We know exactly where his headspace is, and he will communicate as he should exactly what he would like, and we will follow those orders. And I think everything he said on that is right down the middle.
Chairman, did you
Absolutely.
have
Yes, right there. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Secretary. I left my hometown of Sakis in Iranian Kurdistan in 1996. Can you promise that I will be able to return home safely this year? And I have a following question too, please.
I appreciate the question. I'm not here to place guarantees on that, but I think the message the president has given has been clear. To the people of Iran, this is your moment. The world was seized by these crowds and then seized by the reality of this regime killing tens of thousands of innocent protesters. So we saw the nature of the regime yet again exposed. We saw many of the Iranian people seek a change there. This is their moment to take advantage of it, for sure.
You served in Iraq and know that no American soldiers were killed in Kurdistan. The Kurdish people are very pro-American. Will you continue to protect Kurdistan and Peshmerga as loyal ally of the United States? Why I'm asking this question? Because now Kurdistan is under attack by Iranian drones and by proxies in Iraq and on the region.
I think I can speak to allies generally in the region who we've been in constant communication with. We have been standing shoulder to shoulder with them, and we appreciate their capabilities. Absolutely. Yes, right here.
Hi, thank you. Cameron Arcade with the Daily Wire. My question is about some of the domestic threats, if any, regarding this right now. Have there been any concerns about Iranian sleeper cells, and kind of what has the Trump administration been doing to kind of monitor these
Well,
threats?
across the interagency, in full coordination, of course, we're paying attention to any potentialities there. This is a former regime, that seeks to export that ideology and try to sow terror. We're ready for that. We've seen these types of folks before, and the American people can rest assured that we're vigilant on that.
Right. Secretary, thank you. Kind of a follow-up on that last question. There was just this, what appears to be a terrorist attack in Austin yesterday. How does that change the operation at all? What effect does that have?
It doesn't change the operation at all, and I know the authorities are executing exactly the way they should.
Secretary Higgs, and one for Chairman Kane as well. I understand, to your point here, that you don't want to broadcast everything for our adversaries to hear, but the American people also want to know what they're sending their men and women to war for. Is there a concern of this spiraling into a longer war? And then one for the chairman when you're done.
Did you not hear my remarks? I mean, we're ensuring the mission gets accomplished, but we are very clear-eyed, as the president has been, unlike other presidents, about the foolish policies of the past that recklessly pulled us in to things that were not tethered to actual clear objectives. So we know. We have plans, we have generals, we have chairmen, we have commanders, CENTCOM commanders, Admiral Cooper, who's executing very deliberately to ensure outcomes that I laid out are accomplished. But we would never, in front of a press pool, lay out how long that may take.
Guys, just quick update. Martyn will be going live. We're just waiting for this press conference to finish. It's a very important press conference. Then we've got a very important live stream. Martyn is doing a walk and talk. He does not even need to look at his portfolio because he's got his trade set up. He knows what he's doing. I'll tell you more about that in a second, but stay with me because Martyn is going to be telling you about his trades. He's going to be doing a walk and talk straight after this.
What matters to us is very, very clear, and they're executing it right now violently.
And just for the chairman, quickly, I have one for the chairman. You said this is not a one-night operation. It will take time to achieve the goals. What would be the goal line here for you?
I think the Secretary laid out the military objectives, and that's what we execute against is the military objectives.
Last one right here.
Uranium is. Thank you, sir. As you've said, there are a large amount of U.S. service members that are in harm's way right now. What is your prayer for them?
First of all, my prayer for them is that I do pray for them. My wife prays for them. Our family prays for them. Our cabinet prays for them. None of this is done on a whim. Having been in their boots, having been in their shoes, having been in their flight suits, I know we think about them with every decision that we make and every recommendation that we make to the President of the United States. Those recommendations are made prayerfully. And when I pray every day for them and for this mission, I pray simply for the biblical wisdom to see what is right and the courage to do it. It's going to take courage to follow through on this. There's going to be a lot of noise, and we pray for that, and we hope all of you do as well. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, that's the end of the press conference, I believe. Yes, that's the end. So
You're
stay with
there
me.
To that press conference, which has just ended at the Pentagon, where the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was speaking alongside the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, and they really laid out this entire campaign. They made it clear that this is not going to be a single overnight operation, reiterating what President Donald Trump has been saying over the course of the last 36 hours or so, that this campaign will go on for as long as it needs to. General Kane said that this is a major combat operation and laid out how Donald Trump gave that final approval for the Iran mission. He described it as starting or for them to get the note saying no aborts at 3:38 p.m. on Friday.
Okay, so that's the end of that press conference. The market didn't like it too much. We now know it's not going to be a 2-day operation. It's going to go on a bit longer. So Martyn has set trades, and he can walk away with confidence, and he's going to be showcasing that on his show. So he'll be live for the market open. I know a lot of people are here waiting for the market open. Martyn will be live for the market open. So stay exactly where you are. Before you do go over to Martyn, I am going to ask everyone one final time to subscribe to the newsletter. All the information will be there. There is a 1-week free trial. It's in the live chat. Click on it. You get access to the £5,000 portfolio challenge. We are up on a day like this. Why? Well, because we're defensive AI positions. If you want to see more about that, go into the newsletter. You get my full portfolio challenge, 28 hours of research. Plus, at the bottom of that research, you can see what I'm buying. You get the daily newsletter with the daily news, with the daily charts. Remember, we bought oil at $55 at a double bottom. Now it's trading near, let me go back to the live pictures here, near $80. So you get the weekly crypto report, you get the calendar, you get the macro stories, you get the cheat sheets, all of that in the newsletter. So go and grab it. We are now going to go over to Martyn, who is got his trade set and he can walk away with confidence. So he is going to show his confidence today in his stream, and he's going to be live for the market open. So if everyone can stay where you are, let me see if we've got Martyn live. Let me click on the link. If Martyn's live, I'll send to him right away. So I'm waiting for Martyn to go live, and then we'll send to Martyn. Let's have a quick look at the markets now. How are they reacting? That's the wrong one, so I'll move this away, go over here, and go over to the markets. How are the markets reacting? Oil is up now 7.3%. We've got gold up 2.2%. I think gold will be going to all-time highs. I don't think silver will. Someone's just asked, do I think silver will go to $100 again? I think it will. I think if gold continues to go, if gold goes to all-time highs and we still have this uncertainty, I think silver will have an attempt. I think it'll go to $100. Will it go to all-time highs, $120? Probably not. Or it might do a double top, but probably won't go far beyond $120. So I think $100 is certainly a level that I might be looking to sell the remaining amount of my silver, or a section of my silver. The gold, $5,400 approaching all-time highs. Bitcoin down 0.4%, Ethereum down 0.54%. XRP, let me just keep an eye on Martyn. Yeah, Martyn's live. Okay, I'm going to send everyone to Martyn now. Martyn is live. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Stay where you are. Martyn's link is in the live chat. Can everyone go over there to Martyn and say Sensei sent me? Can you say Sensei sent me as soon as you go in? Sensei sent me. He'll be very happy to hear that. Sensei sent me. I'm giving you the link in the live chat. Everyone go there and say Sensei sent me. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Martyn's live showing his confidence in the markets today and in his strategy. So go and check it out. Link is in the live chat. Click on it. Go straight to a stream. He's going to be walking. Send him a message. Just go in there and say, Sensei sent me. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.